Well, Steve, after that speech, I don't think I have to give one. But I do have a little history to share with you. First of all, Amanda, wherever you are, I'd like to thank you for nominating us. And it's a very meaningful award for us all. We're located in Dolgeville, New York. And we've been there for, Peggy and I have been there for 42 years. 42 years. And just to give you a broad background, you have some tumble forms in the back. That's from my first company. I also invented those and developed a company around those. And then later I left tumble forms and had a period of development, and I created the special tomato product line. And an example of it is a brown wedge up here. You walk on the clump and just touch it later. You'll see that it's a lot softer than the tumble forms. So it was a step forward from the tumble forms. I went on the Faxton website and I saw RBC. At first I thought it was the Royal Bank of Canada. Not so. Relationship-based care. And to me that's very meaningful. It was adopted by Faxton and St. Luke's to provide a positive, caring, and healing experience for the patient and their families. Well, when I was a child, I had a great aunt. Her name was Maud. Not a very glamorous name, but nonetheless, she was a great woman. She was one of the first in this country to practice relationship-based care. She was a tireless and compassionate rural school nurse, and she was located in New Hampshire. She was a midwife, a physiotherapist, and she worked for 50 some odd years and retired when she was 73. Now, Aunt Maud graduated as a nurse from Mass General in 1908. Yes, that's 1908. That's a long time ago. That's over 100 years ago. And went on to study at New York Lying In for maternity training, and then at Harvard for physiotherapy. And she was the first school nurse to visit rural communities in New Hampshire. So in 1953, she had an entrepreneurial role in co-founding the Crotchet Mountain Rehabilitation Center, some of you may have heard of. She co-founded it with former U.S. Senator Judd Gregg's grandfather, Hugh Gregg. And the facility originally treated people for polio, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, and other physical and neurological disabilities. And her deep compassion earned her the nickname Old Mother Hubbard. So where does our special tomato compassion come from? Well, quite frankly, it comes from the women in my life. Aunt Maud's historical component, you know, remembering her as Old Mother Hubbard of sorts. There's also my wife, Peggy, in the red up front here. She was educated as an OT from Tufts University in Medford, Mass. And she's been a partner and healthcare strategy confidant for 42 years. And probably more important, she's the mother of compassion. She raised... Do I have some water somewhere? I got one right here. She raised 4 kids that were full of compassion. My daughter Katie Peglow is a PT. She's right here in the roll with the camera in her hand. She has worked with children and their siblings with hands-on experience in early intervention in the Boston and Rochester areas, and she's now the COO of AdaptiveMall.com. And the CEO, by the way, is Chief Online Officer. It's not Chief Operating Officer. She understands how important it is to get the appropriate adaptive equipment for children, their parents, and the caregivers. And my daughter, Carrie Bergeron, she's the real live tomato, the special tomato. She's sitting next to Katie. Carrie has provided insight into many challenges and rewards that go along with having special needs. She has shown herself to be a joy and an inspiration to many as a successful adult with Down syndrome living on her own. And to quote Carrie, I chose to take the dis out of disability. Okay, back to a little more history now. In 1967, at the Meeting Street School in Providence, Rhode Island, a spring afternoon at this special school for treating children with physical disabilities, I was a senior at Rhode Island School of Design, and I was assigned a degree thesis to develop appropriate therapeutic equipment. And I was able to locate a defense contractor in South Deerfield, Massachusetts. They made very strange looking foam shapes, and these foam shapes were used as packaging components to package missiles and other delicate instruments that were parachuted off airplanes, and you know, it just protected the instruments. But I turned them into a bunch of toys, and these toys, quote unquote, were for kids with special needs. I cut these things up and re-glued them back together. I colored them, gave them texture, and just assembled them in certain ways that allowed the kids to interact with them, as well as the therapists to interact with the kids on these things with real purpose. So that was the beginning of what I would call my special needs equipment. But after leaving Rhode Island School of Design, I had a brief professional career in Dulceville, New York. I was industrial designer for Adirondack Bat, and based on my work, we were the first ones to produce aluminum baseball bats in the country. So that was kind of fun, but to me it just didn't have it. So I always had this you know, potential project in the back of my mind. And in 1973, as a budding entrepreneur, my wife's preschool playhouse in Dulceville inspired me to design a new group of playthings, and these were going to be for normal kids. We had a 22-inch ball, a tub set, a box set, and these were the original tumble forms. They were simple geometric shapes, and it was a theme based on observing how children love to play in large open spaces. You know how if you take an empty box from a refrigerator, for example, or a TV, you know how the kids love to crawl inside and just explore, and it's called spatial relationship, among other things. So I picked up on that theme and developed some real foam shapes to be play items. But in the 70s, the market was changing and funding was tightening up for preschools. So we had to switch gears, and fortunately my wife was an occupational therapist, and she understood the professional value and potential of tumble forms. And so we switched gears and began to manufacture rolls and wedges and other NDT equipment in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And that's basically what grew Tumble Forms. And then I left Tumble Forms in the 90s and developed a new process represented by this chocolate wedge up in the front here. And they're called Special Tomato Products. And it really has a unique liquid upholstery because it has a soft flowing quality to it. It's soft, safe, colorful, can be easily cleaned, and it's just, it's an advancement from the tumble forms. And as an entrepreneur and product designer, my area of interest has been to compassionately design and manufacture equipment for kids with young adults with disabilities. And all designs are manufactured with the needs of every child in mind, combining fun with a therapeutic purpose. And at 70 now, I'm looking towards retirement. But fortunately, the compassion legacy will carry on with my son Jamie, the compassionate CEO that he is, and with my daughter Katie, the compassionate COO that she is. And with my son-in-law Matt, he's the sales and marketing compassionate guru. And with Carrie, of course, she will continue to inspire us with her brand of compassionate love. And sort of in summary, if I could explain, just visualize a couple of bookends. This is my life, okay? You've got Aunt Maud as one bookend, okay, back in the early 1900s. And the other bookend is sort of represented by Carrie and the rest of my kids. Here I go, Vince. Don't think I can match yours, though. Okay, so you have those two bookends, and then sandwiched between are the special needs products that are designed and made with care and attention to detail, fulfilling the needs of therapists and children. So I was going to close with reading the special tomato story. But if Carrie, if you wouldn't mind, would you come up and read it?
Woo!
Well, it's very an honor being up here. I didn't know about this. But the award is really going to my dad. So the special tomato story on the Bergeron bush. My dad and mom had 4 children. The first 3 children were healthy and regular people. I came along, a baby with a difference, Down syndrome. I had a hole in my heart, a rib in my heart valve, jaundice, a big tongue, and a wobbly head. As I got older, I also realized that I am a slow learner. One day it was bothering me that I was having a hard time doing my schoolwork. I told my dad about this problem, and he shared a story about when he was out in his garden picking tomatoes the year I was born. Every year my dad grows a garden and loves to plant tomatoes. At harvest time, there were beefsteak tomatoes on a bush. When he saw a differently shaped tomato, it got his attention. It had a large, smooth, bright red and large side that made my dad want to pick it up and study the bump, because it was so unique and looked appetizing. As supper, that tomato was just as juicy as the others. Even though I'm different, like the tomato, as a person with Down syndrome, my family and friends love me even more and want to help me when I need it. My dad tells me that even though I have more difficulty learning than my brother and sisters, my lovable and outgoing personality and strong character make me just as special as they are. I guess I am the special tomato on the Bergeron bush, And by the way, and right next to me is my whole entire family, and it's including my father.
Just a side note, she actually wrote this herself. And a final thank you, Faxton Hospital, for recognizing our company.